Cool. All right, so we are recording. We're ready to go. I'm going to start talking here, and we'll kick off our seminar. So welcome to the 28 Day Stay Healthy Challenge Kickoff Seminar. Thank you so much for signing up for this program. Our goal with this challenge is to help you focus on the things that you can control right now to stay healthy during this time. So that's going to be nutrition, exercise, stress management, and sleep. We want to provide you with the tools, the accountability, and the support needed to create your healthy habits to help you reach your nutrition and fitness goals, which we talked about in your initial meetings. I'm going to record the seminar. I'm going to keep you guys on mute for now. If you do have any questions during the presentation, there is a little chat box. You can type in the chat box, and I'll open it up for questions at the end of the presentation. All right. So as most of you know, there's a lot of information out there on nutrition, a lot of different diet plans. It can be really hard to tell where to start and what's going to work for you. So at B3 and with our company that we use, Healthy Steps Nutrition, we believe that nutrition shouldn't be complicated. So with the stress of everything that's going on right now, we want to keep it really simple for you and help you create some more sustainable habits that will lead to the results that you're looking for. So during our seminar today, we're gonna help you understand how to set yourself up for success during the challenge, figure out where it is that you need to start, and also understand how to use all the tools and the resources that we're providing you during the challenge. So first thing, it's really important for us to get a baseline with our current habits. So here are some good questions to start with to help get you thinking about where am I currently at with my fitness and nutrition habits. The first one's gonna ask you, what does success look like for you? So our routines for most of us have changed. So, and it's really easy for fitness or nutrition or both to kind of take a back seat during this time. So we want to start focusing a little bit more on the things that are in our control, which, as I said before, is going to be nutrition, fitness, stress management, and sleep. How are you going to find a new normal? So as I said, most of us are transitioned to working from home for the time being. What does that new normal look like for you? Number three, what has worked well for you in the past? What didn't work well? If you've tried a nutrition program before, what did you like about it? What didn't you like about it? What do you struggle with the most? So this is a question that I asked during your initial consults is, what are you struggling most with for your nutrition? And last, what has prohibited you from seeing results in the past? So I think a lot of you are pretty aware of what are the things that are barriers for you. What are the things that are getting in the way? For a lot of us, it's going to be ourself, right? Our mindset on how we approach things. So just being aware of that, that's where we can start to focus our efforts. So once we have a better understanding of where we're at right now, we can start to create a plan that's going to get us on track for where we want to be. So we also need to think about our goals. When we're setting our goals, we want to consider our why behind our goals. Why is it so important to you? How is it going to affect your life? We set our goals. This is what we talked about during our initial consults. We want to try to make sure that they are SMART goals. So something specific, something measurable, attainable, time sensitive, and realistic. So we want to try to set something that's going to be a little bit more specific that we can work towards during this challenge and after the challenge. To achieve your goals, we need to create habits related to your goal. And like I said before, a habit is going to be a routine of behavior that's repeated regularly and happens usually subconsciously. So things that we have built into our day or built into our routine that we don't necessarily think about anymore. It's just a habit, it happens. So habits are going to be created as a result of consistently completing your action steps. I talked a little bit about action steps during our calls this week. If you haven't scheduled a call yet, we'll touch on that during your call. These are going to be daily or weekly actions that we need to consciously do for a while before we can start developing that habit where it starts to happen automatically. So some strategies on how to develop some healthy habits. Number one is just to focus on one thing at a time. We don't want to overload ourselves with a lot of things that we're trying to work on all at once. We just want to pick one thing and focus on that until it starts to become more of a habit, and it takes a little bit less work for that to happen. We want to make sure that, again, we're getting that habit ingrained before we start to add something else. You can also layer your habit onto something else. This is called habit stacking. I think I suggested the book before for people. The book's called Atomic Habits by James Clear. So that is a great one as well. If you haven't read that book before, that's a good one to add in. All right, let's see. So now we're going to start talking about some of our nutrition content. So these are going to be the basics that are going to help get us started. These are going to be the basics that we're going to focus on during the nutrition challenge. So we want to try to choose real foods over food products. Okay, so we want to limit how much processed food is in our diet. So instead of choosing food products that are typically found in the aisles of the grocery store, we want to try to stick more to the perimeter of the grocery store where we have more fresh food, real foods that doesn't have a lot of added ingredients in there. To get rid of the temptation, clear out all of your processed food from your house, whether that's your pantry or your refrigerator. If you have whipped cream in your refrigerator that you've been eating with your treats at the end of the day, don't buy any more. Get rid of it. Don't keep it in your house. If it's not there, you can't have it, right? Keep in mind too that things are not always going to go really smoothly. We're going to have good days. We're going to have bad days. We'll mess up here and there. Just stay consistent with your habits and focus on that steady progress over time. Remember that you're always just one meal away from getting back on track. If I slip up one meal, I can get right back on track the next one. Don't get into that mindset of, oh, well, I already messed up today. I'm just going to eat whatever I want for the rest of the day, right? You can always get back on track. And stick to the plate method. This is what we're actually going to talk about next, is our plate method. So this is one of the easiest and most effective methods for improving your diet. We're going to focus on eating a balanced meal of high quality foods. The plate method is a great rule of thumb that you can use when you're going out to eat or when you're cooking a quick meal at home. So looking at our plate method here for our lunch portions, we have half of our plate is going to be our non-starchy vegetables. It's going to be our greens, low carbohydrate vegetables. We're going to have a quarter of our plate is going to be our lean protein. A quarter of our plate is going to be our complex carbohydrate or our starchy carb. You can think about sweet potato, butternut squash, brown rice, something like that would be what we would consider our starch. And then we're going to add in just a small serving of a plant-based fat. Our dinner for this one is going to look just slightly different, and mainly that's because right now, while we are all at home a little bit more often, we're not quite as active as we were before the self-isolation. We're going to cut out the starchy carbs at dinner. If you are someone who is still very active and you're going for a lot of walks or you're doing a lot of yard work, you're still attending the regular classes online, stick with the lunch one for both meals if that's what you need. So if you feel like you need a little bit more energy, add in those starchy carbs with your dinner as well. But the main priority on this is to try to set up your plate so half of your plate is going to be those green or those non-starchy vegetables. So next up, we're going to talk a little bit about the components of the plate method. We're going to start with protein. So protein is going to give us some important amino acids, which are really important to help building muscle and with recovery from workouts. It's also going to help us stay full and feel more satisfied. So when it comes to protein sources, we want to try to stick with lean proteins such as chicken breast, turkey, egg whites, or fish. And we want to be aware of our protein sources that are going to be a little bit higher in fat, which is going to be like our ribeye or chicken wings. Chicken thighs are going to have a little bit more fat in them. On average, protein is going to provide us about 4 calories per gram, and we want to try to stick with around 30% of our total intake is going to be protein. So here's the food options guide. This is in your Stay Healthy Challenge handbook. And there's also some great information in that handbook too about our macronutrients, our protein, our carbohydrate, and our fat. For those of you who follow more of a vegan or vegetarian diet, please just send me a quick message, either an email or message, and I'll send you a list of vegan and vegetarian protein sources if that's something that you want a little bit more help with on there. Because I know a lot of our challenge meal plan and our lists here are a lot of meats. So if you're less of a meat eater, let me know and I'll send you that other resource for your information. Carbohydrates is going to be our second one, and this one always gets a little bit of a bad reputation. We have a lot of different things are going to be considered carbohydrates. That's going to be your fruits, your sugars, bread, pasta, grains, even sweet potatoes, butternut squash, our starchy vegetables. Our carbohydrates are going to break down into glucose, which is what your body's going to use for fuel. So we need carbohydrates every day. So don't avoid carbohydrates. You definitely need those, especially if you're an active person. So like protein, carbohydrates are going to give us about 4 calories per gram. And we want to try to keep our carbohydrate intake about 30 to 40% of your daily intake. So when we're looking at our food options guide, again, this is in your challenge handbook. We want to try to primarily eat the foods that are going to be in the green columns. The yellow column is going to be more of moderation, and then the red column, you can still have food in that column, just try to minimize how often you're eating those foods. So the green column is where we want to kind of stay, and this is going to be for all 3 of our macronutrients. So fat is going to be our last macronutrient, and fat, I think a lot of people think if they eat fat, they're going to get fat. That's not really how that works. We want to eat fat to help us feel full longer, and it's also going to help with us absorbing more fat-soluble vitamins that we need in our nutrition. Fat is also going to be the most calorie dense, so it's going to come in at 9 calories per gram compared to 4 for our carbohydrates and protein. So remember that when we're consuming fat, a little bit is going to go a long way. We want to try to stick with plant-based sources of fat, such as avocado oil and olive oil. So these are some good healthy fats here on this list. Again, this is in your food options guide. So we get into planning your meals. This is a great resource that I like to use for planning my meals. It's also going to double as a shopping list, so you can use this as a shopping list as well. This is in your challenge handbook as well. I use this for my lunches and my dinners. So what I usually do is I'll look at it, and you have your column for your protein. So what's my protein source for this meal? I'm gonna look and figure out what's my starch or my starchy vegetable, and then I'll figure out what my non-starchy vegetables are, and then my source of fat. So it's a great way to lay out your menu for the week so that you have a plan in advance when you go grocery shopping for your foods. We're going to start talking about the HSN app next. So if you have your cell phone, if you're not on your phone currently, if you have your cell phone available, we're going to talk about how we can use the app. So one of the amazing tools that we're going to use for the challenge is this Healthy Steps Nutrition app. You'll have access to short weekly educational videos on a bunch of different topics. There's a group messaging feature in there as well, so we can check in and support one another. You can message me directly, privately on there as well. And I'm also going to put on there your sample meal plan, your challenge meal plan, to help you with creating balanced meals and snacks. So on the main screen, if you click on your app, you're going to see a little fist bump emoji, and that's going to be our group chat for the challenge. So if you click on there, you can type in something to the group, you can post your bright spots, you can ask for help if you're struggling with something, if you want to share recipes or ask for snack ideas. It's just an opportunity for us to be open and honest with each other and just kind of hold each other accountable and be supportive in that environment. We're also going to have the Facebook group as well. I think I invited pretty much everybody already. If you haven't accepted the invitation or you're not on Facebook, we can use the HSN app as well. If you want to message me directly through the HSN app, there is a little B3 Gym icon in the bottom right. If you click on that, that will link directly to me, so you can send me a quick message if you need any help with anything. So if we open up the app, it's going to connect automatically to your dashboard. So this is our main screen. There's a blue plus sign. If you click on that and you click on select body stats, you're going to be able to input your first biometrics, right? So in there, I can put in my weight. If I have access to test my body fat percentage, I can put that in there as well. You can also add in a waist or hip measurement. When you do your waist measurement, that's going to be around your belly button. Okay, so when you set up to do your waist measurement, it'll be around your belly button. Your hips are going to be around the largest part of your glutes. So if you think about the biggest part of our butt, that's where we're going to measure our hips. So if you want to, you can start to add in those biometrics. That'll just give a baseline for where we're starting with the challenge. Also on the dashboard, if you scroll down, you should be able to add in some photos. If you click on photos, it'll actually give you a description of what we're looking for your photos. You can do one from the front, a couple from the side, just to see where you're starting out with that as well. So great place to add in your starting point if you want to add in any measurements or anything like that. The main focus of our challenge is going to be on creating better habits around your nutrition and your fitness. So we're going to be using the habit tracker in the app for this. Each week, the entire challenge group is going to have one specific habit that we're going to try to complete every day. So at the end of the day, you can log in, you can mark off whether or not you completed it. And it's a great way to just remind yourself and keep yourself accountable to that habit. Each week, I'm going to add in a new habit. So our first week on Monday, your first habit's going to show up at the top of your dashboard under things to do today when you log in. Our first habit this week is going to be to eat at least one fist-sized serving of vegetables at 2 meals every day. So the description of the habit is in there. There's a picture of the serving size as well. If you eat your serving of vegetable at your 2 meals, then you're going to go ahead and mark it complete. And then on the dashboard, your habit's going to show up as completed for the day. As I mentioned, the group's going to have the same habits each week. During our individual meetings, I talked to most of you about individual action steps. If you want me to add in your specific action steps, let me know and I will put those in so you can log those as well as we go. So if there are certain things that we talked about working on every day or every week, I can put that into your habit tracker and you can keep track of that too. I know Kathy's been doing the habit tracker for quite a while. If you are very consistent with tracking your habits and you do it all the time, you'll start to earn badges, and that's kind of what's been showing up in that chat if you guys have been on the chat box yet. As I mentioned before, we are going to have access to some short weekly educational videos on a variety of topics, including nutrition tips. There'll be mindfulness tips, kitchen and meal prep tips also. There's also going to be a new recipe each week, and there will be a video that goes along with that to teach you how to make that recipe. New videos are going to be added to the app every Saturday, and to access the videos, you're going to select Program on the bottom menu bar. In here, you're also going to see all the videos, the list of your habits, and then also the challenge meal plan. So for those of you that have had meetings with me before, your meal plan should already be in there. You can click on it and take a look through that as well. So that'll be our videos. Those will be really helpful for you. Lots of good tips on how to manage stress, how to set up a new routine, meal prep tips. There'll be a lot of great content in there. And the videos are relatively short, so it shouldn't take you a lot of time to watch those. You can also connect a couple different apps to the HSN app, and that information will automatically pop up on your dashboard. So if you're on your main screen on the dash and you scroll down, you should be able to see your step counts, your exercise. There's a lot of different things that you can track. On that bottom menu bar, if you click on more, you should be able to scroll through and you can link MyFitnessPal, you can link your Fitbit, your Apple Watch. There's a lot of different apps that will link to the HSN app. And so if you want to keep track of more information on your app, you can connect those apps to your HSN app as well. For this challenge, I encourage you to complete your weekly habits in the app. As I said earlier, if you want me to add your action steps, please let me know. I'm also going to send out a reflection form at the end of each week so I can see how you're doing. It honestly is going to take you 1 minute to complete this form. It's just going to ask you to rate your nutrition, your activity, your stress, and your sleep on a scale from 1 to 5. I'm also going to ask you guys if you are able to share your bright spots each week, so the things that are going really well for you during the challenge and some of the things that you might be struggling with. As I mentioned earlier, I want this to be a support group for you to help you stick with and hold each other accountable, support each other during this challenge. On Tuesday nights at 7 o'clock, I'm going to be hosting some really short mini seminars on some different topics. I'm going to record the seminar, so if you're not able to attend those live, I will send that link out for you to watch those. We're going to be talking about how to build balanced meals, how to manage sugar and sweets, which I know is a big one for a lot of people. Meal prep basics. If that's not something you've done before, we'll talk about some strategies on how to meal prep. And then also setting a schedule. I know a lot of us have been working from home, so our schedule's changing. We're going to talk about some strategies on how to do that as well. All right, so now we're going to talk about some of frequently asked questions in regards to the challenge. The first one is going to be about the meal plan. So for our people that have not done nutrition with me before, we have a challenge meal plan that I added to the HSN app. This is going to be meant for more inspiration and to show you what balanced meals and snacks look like. So it's going to give you some great examples. You can pick and choose the recipes that look good for you. Eat the foods that you like. If there are foods on there that you don't like, you don't have to eat them, right? One thing that I like to do is I'm going to use the family meal planner resource that I showed you before and the food options guide. I'm just going to pick a couple staples. I'm going to choose a few recipes, and then you can create some balanced meals based off of your preferences. One strategy would be to prep some egg muffins, some pulled chicken, meatloaf muffins, just something easy that you can cook maybe on the weekend that's going to set you up for success during the week. You don't feel like you need to cook and eat everything on the meal plan. Again, this is just meant to be a good reference for you to help you come up with some ideas for balanced meals and snacks. Starchy carbs. You have to eat the starchy carbs. So as we talked about, carbs are not bad for you. We just want to make sure that we're sticking to whole food sources of carbohydrates, and then our lower glycemic options, which are going to be a little bit lower in sugar and higher in fiber. So it's going to help you feel full and keep our insulin and glucose levels under control. Sandwiches. I know there are a couple people that mentioned that they really like to eat sandwiches. Yes, you can still eat a sandwich. Couple of strategies with that is to use more whole grain or sprouted wheat bread. Sandwich flats are a great option. Maybe an open face where you're using just one slice of bread. Make sure you're adding lean proteins and then lots of vegetables as well. For your healthy fat, you can add in some avocado or hummus. Just try to stick with the plate method as best you can. We think about bread as going to be our starchy carbohydrate, so keep that in mind. With snack bars, I know these are super convenient, so if you're in a crunch, snack bars are going to be a great option. We still want to try to make sure that these bars are going to be balanced. So we say about 40% carbohydrate, 30% protein, 30% fat. A lot of them are going to say that they're healthy, but they're going to have a lot of added sugar. They're going to be really high in carbohydrates. So make sure that you're reading the label. We recommend RX bars are a great option. Lower sugar kind bars, perfect bars are great options as well. Do you have to weigh your food? So in the meal plan, there are numbers that go along with that for serving sizes. You do not have to weigh your food. You're going to be a little bit more accurate if you do, but you can always use the hand portion guide. So the serving sizes that we show in the app for the vegetables, we talked about the 1 fist of your vegetables, palm size serving of protein, half a cup of your hand of starchy carbs. So you can use the hand portion guide. You can also just try to stick more with the plate method. If this is not something that you've done before, where you've eaten the plate method, just try it out. I promise you, if you stick with it, you're going to see some really great results just from using the plate method and rearranging the portion sizes of your macronutrients. How do you know which HSN recipe to use in MyFitnessPal? So if you're someone that's tracking your food and you've used MyFitnessPal before, you'll know that there are a lot of things in there when you go to search for food. So if you're using the HSN recipes, you can type in Healthy Steps Nutrition Official, and then that's going to have all of the recipes in there that are on the website. When you're using MyFitnessPal, one good tool or tip to remember is that we want to try to only use the foods that have the green check badge next to it. That means that they are going to have been, will have been verified for accuracy. And you can filter your search for that as well, so that you're just searching for the green ones. Do you have to eat all the food? This is a big thing that we hear from people when they are making changes to their nutrition, is it feels like a ton of food and you're always eating. If you feel like the portion sizes are too big for you, you can eat a smaller amount. Just make sure that they're staying balanced in their portions. Eating whole nutrient-dense foods are probably going to make you feel a little bit more full. So if you need a meal or a snack, but you're not necessarily really hungry, just try a smaller serving. Right? This is going to be a little bit more food than we're used to because the food that we're eating, again, is more nutrient-dense, but less calories. So you're going to have to eat a little bit more. So overall, recap. My advice to you when starting this challenge is to keep it simple and focus on the weekly habits in the app. If you're feeling good with that habit, or you're going above that habit, and you have specific action steps that we talked about during your call, go ahead and add those in as well. If you need support, make sure you reach out. Utilize the group messaging feature in the HSN app or in the Facebook group. I don't want you to feel like you're super overwhelmed with all of these things happening at once. So again, what we talked about with healthy habits, just keep it really simple. I am here to help you as much as possible over the next 28 days and after that. You're going to get out of this challenge what you put in. Okay? I'm going to provide you with as much support as possible, but you will need to do the work. Right? If you want to see the results you're looking for and reach your goals, work on staying consistent with your habits and use all of the resources that we're giving you during this challenge. I'm going to check in with you, obviously, each week. If you need anything at any point, don't hesitate to ask. So here are a few action steps to get you started with the challenge. This next week, if you can, let's try to pick out one recipe, either from the HSN website or the meal plan or something like that, and try it out. Make sure you read through the challenge handbook. If you haven't gotten that yet, I send it out after our initial meeting, so I'll be sending that to you once we meet. Take a look around the app, figure out how to use it, and then add in your biometrics as well. And then on Monday, we're going to start working on our habits. Cool. All right, so thank you guys so much for joining the challenge. I'm going to stop my screen share. And if anyone has questions, let's go ahead and just raise your hand or give me a wave and I'll unmute you. You can ask a question if you have anything. Can be related to the challenge, can be related to the app. Christy's got a question. Yes.
So you're gonna post like a daily like eating vegetables. Does that will show up under things to do today?
Correct. Yeah. Okay. So on Monday, when you log in on your dashboard, it'll say eat vegetables. And then if you click
Okay,
on
I
track your
see.
habits,
I
you'll be able
just paid. Okay, I
Yep.
paged ahead 2 days, and I could see that it's there already. Okay.
Yeah, it should already be in. If you've had your meeting with me and I've had time to put all of your information in, it should already be in there. So you should be able
So
to.
it also says body stats and take a progress photo. Are those necessary every day?
No, that should just show up until you complete it.
Okay, gotcha. Thank
So
you.
if you haven't put in any measurements or anything like that, it'll probably just show up until you complete it.
Okay.
Anyone else have questions on anything yet? All right.